that this report is alive to the fact that we are in a democracy, and we subscribe to the Commonwealth countries that have a sitting arrangement in Parliament. And the report recognizes that the members in the ruling party position will be on the left-hand side. This report recognizes that, but it also recognizes that there are exceptional circumstances. So now we are talking about those exceptional circumstances where the Speaker has already said free sitting. So what the major report was saying, the free sitting should exclude, whatever the circumstance would be, should exclude the front. Now he has conceded to the fact that the free sitting, whatever the circumstance may be, should exclude 2 benches on the front side of the opposition. Right, Honorable Speaker, it is also okay for the public to see that their members of Parliament are not there. If the seats are empty, let people know that members of Parliament either have walked out or have absconded from duty. So it's okay.
Thank you.
Will you allow me read the amendment as proposed?
The amendment?
Yes.
You read the amendment. I don't know what.
Right, Honorable Speaker, the colleague have conceded. I therefore
Madam Chair.
move.
Eki. How do you access the microphone? Aisha, can you read?
I therefore move that Rule 9 is amended by inserting immediately after Sub-Rule 4 the following. 4A, where the Speaker determines that it is not practicable to comply with the sitting arrangement in Sub-Rule 2, 3, and 4, the Speaker may permit a member to sit on either side of the Speaker. 4B, notwithstanding Sub-Rule 4A, the Speaker shall reserve the front rows to the right and left-hand sides of the Speaker for the ministers and shadow ministers respectively, and the second row on the left-hand side of the Speaker for members of the opposition parties in the House. Justification is to give the Speaker discretion to allow free sitting whenever necessary. 2, to reserve the front seats on either sides of the Speaker for ministers and shadow ministers. 3, to reserve the second row seats on the left-hand side of the Speaker for the opposition parties for consultation purposes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then the amendment of Honorable Samuel to...
Yeah. Right, Honorable Speaker, I considered after listening to my...
Thank you. So we are taking with the amendment of Honorable Aisha and Honorable Samuel. And that also happens. I now put a question that Rule 9 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Rule 11.
Rule 11 is amended by substituting for Sub-Rule 4 the following. Nomination of the candidates for election to the Commission of the 4 members of Parliament referred to in Sub-Rule 1F shall be made by the government and the opposition sides in accordance with the rules set out in Appendix BA. Justification: to provide for detailed procedure for nomination and elections of the 4 commissioners to the Parliamentary Commission, which is not provided for in the rules.
Continue.
Right, Honorable Speaker, the justification has been that whereas the parent act had provided for election of the members of the Commission, the practice has been designation. And then the rules had introduced the word designation, which is contrary to the parent act. So we are trying to streamline our rules in accordance with the Administration of the Parliament Act, which provides for the election of commissioners.
Thank you. Aisha? 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 Aisha?
Thank you, Chair. There is no disagreement on the proposal.
I put a question that Rule 11 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say, and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Rule 13.
You had all the time. You had all the time to go to the committee. Proceed on what?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, before you will move to committee, you guided that when we are at committee stage, members will be able to debate and discuss. It was your ruling, Madam Chair. And it's basically that's what we are trying to follow, that you grant us opportunity to debate at each clause at committee level.
We are proceeding really very well. Abudu, go the next.
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
Procedure on under which rule? 8 is Madam Teacher.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm proceeding under a rule that talks about your general powers as a Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the procedural issue I wanted to raise was to seek your guidance under your wide powers to be clarified. You have just ruled here that we have passed the clause, but we have commissioners in this House right now.
4.
And I understand that, and I was trying to consult Honorable Katun here to know if what I understand is proper, that we cannot make rules that act backward.
Yes. Retrospective.
Indeed. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, now that we have commissioners and we make this rule, and you have guided when I raised the matter about the fact that this might have been work for the next parliament, you said indeed we still need to make rules for this parliament. Does it mean that now that we have that rule, we are going to get new commissioners, or are we making this for the future? And are we supposed to legislate for the next parliament, Madam Speaker? I want to be clarified.
These amendments shall not have retrospective effect. So the commissioners, as currently constituted, were elected in accordance to the rules as they were then. But tomorrow, the vacancy can fall, either by an act of nature, or by which could be that one I don't want to talk about, or resignation, or even for whatever reason. Then that commissioner, a new incoming commissioner, why don't I explain first? Then that incoming commissioner will be elected in accordance with the rules as we pass them. So we are not first of all, to lose the position of the commissioner, you must do so in accordance with the rules and the act. As of now, none of those commissioners have violated any of the provision to lose the seat.
Oechitiwa.
Thank you. Chair, I wanted to ask clarification from the Chair of Rules. Except for adding the word that the election will take place in accordance with appendix proposed under BA, sub-rule 4 of the rules, they have replicated the same. If we can read together, the rule as it is now says nomination of candidates for election to the commission of the 4 members of parliament referred in sub-rule 1F shall be made by the government and opposition sides. The committee has just added, that it will be in accordance with appendix. So the clarification I wanted from the chair of the rules, he says that an election took place in accordance with these rules, the current rules. The clarification I wanted from him to brief us, when did this parliament sit to elect the commissioners?
I said in the current rules, we were using the word designation. You get it? 2, to understand this amendment, you have to read it together with now what is provided for on page 118, Appendix BA, because now it gives the detailed procedure of election, which did not exist. Which did not exist. And in our view, you need to read now Appendix BA, which introduced a very different method of elections, such that you satisfy both the Administration of Parliaments Act and anything to do with the designation as it has been. It can't be in a case that office falls vacant tomorrow.
Do you have the procedure in the old rules? It is not there. So they are only introducing, and they are saying within 2 days of the first sitting, of the first meeting of the first session of Parliament, that is when we should have the election take place. Yes. And this is in conformity with the Administration of Parliament Act. You have something
Chair.
contrary?
Chair, I think to facilitate debate of this particular rule, would be procedure right for us now to discuss the procedure, because whether commissioners would be elected or not, it wasn't a matter of contention. The law actually required us to have elected commissioners.
Yes.
Now, how are they elected would be the issue. If it pleases your chair, you would take us to that particular appendix at this time so that people agree with the appendix or make possible amendments to it.
Before that, Madam Chair, you see, Madam Chair, I pray that we don't create a situation where we are as if preparing rules for the next house in anticipation of our being there, if God makes us be there. Unless we are stating it expressly here, that those clauses breathe after that Parliament coming. Because after swearing off in the Speaker, the Parliament makes its own rules. So the moment we tamper and give procedures with the election of commissioners, that means we are preparing rules for the next house, which we are not sure of being there. All by my Rosal, I will be there, you never know. And prayers, no, there's nobody who is assured of that. It's God, it's your personal chi that's going to help. Madam Chair, I think we have to take keen interest in that. Otherwise, we cannot prepare rules for the next Parliament.
Chair, take us through the procedure. Appendix B. BA. Honorable members,
Okay.
you cannot expect new members to come and start sitting and making rules. Even the rules we are using were made by people who were not here. Yes. Unless if you're... Most of us, you know very well. You go ahead.
Madam Chair, election rules, election law is always about the future, not the past. You cannot enact a law on elections in the past. It's about election which is going to happen in the future. Other than having a debate like we used to have some time when we are down. So what we are looking at currently, what we are looking at, I am already taking any clarification. I don't want anybody to imagine a big question which
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Honorable Budu, you are the one who has been mentoring us, saying that we don't legislate in anticipation. Now it seems you are now taking us to anticipate, because the Commonwealth practice, the foundation upon our rules are prepared. Every parliament makes this rule. We can adopt the rule. If a new parliament comes, they can decide to adopt that rule or make its own rule. So I want to seek clarification from you. That is it proper for you to be on record to make statement in anticipation that the next parliament, this rule we are making for them so that it will help them to conduct election, their first sitting.
Rule 13. Honorable Budu, Rule 13.
colleagues,
Rule 13.
yes, Rule 13.
I did. We are finished.
I'm just going back to Rule 13. As I go back, honorable colleagues, we did not have election and now we are providing for election. Really, that's the essence. Rule 13 is amended.
But if you want, I can. Honorable members, I think members didn't hear the question. I put
Yes.
a question that Rule 11 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Rule 13.
Rule
13.
13, amendment of Rule 13. We propose amendment of Rule 13 by inserting immediate after Sub-Rule 1 the following. Subject to Sub-Rule 1, at least one of the members of the Pan-African Parliament shall be a woman. At least. Right Honorable Speaker, we are aligning with Article 4.2 of the protocol to the treaty establishing the Pan-African Parliament community relating to the Pan-African Parliament, which requires that one of the 5 members shall be a woman. It's not like this is independent. We are just aligning our rules to the treaty establishing the Pan-African Parliament.
Honorable members, that was not existing in the original rules, and it is in alignment with the Constitution and then the treaty. Aisha? Aisha?
I agree with the majority report.
Yeah, Madam Chair, before you put a question, I wanted to propose an amendment
Yes.
to Rule 13
Yes.
to read as follows. A member elected to Pan-African Parliament shall relinquish any other position, or a member elected to Pan-African Parliament shall not hold any other position in Parliament. This will allow the member not to hold 2 concurrent, like currently the chair of rules is also a member of the Pan-African Parliament.
Honorable members, yeah, it is a good one. You cannot be in Pan-Africa and you are in the chair of the committee.
Right Honorable Speaker, I concede.
You concede.
Yes.
Right Honorable Chair. Right Honorable Chair. I think Honorable Dole must have noticed that the chair was giving a lot of time to the deputy chair to do a good job. So it's good he has conceded, because his deputy chair was doing a good job as well.
You have considered?
Chair.
Honorable members, I put a question that Rule 13 be amended as proposed with amendment. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
New rule.
The new. No, he has not resigned.
Well,
He has a dean who will.
I can say the rules don't have retrospective effect. And I think we have already explained that to the honorable members. Rule 5. We are now rule 14.
14?
I think
There's
rule
a new
14.
rule?
Yes. The rules are amended by starting immediately before Rule 14 the following. Role and functions of lead of government business. There shall be in Parliament a lead of government business designated as such by the President, who shall be responsible for the coordination and implementation of government policies across ministries, departments, and other public institutions. 2, the lead of government business shall perform such other function as provided under the rules. Justification to provide for the role of the lead of government business in the rules. Colleagues, as you realize, whereas the role and functions of the leader of opposition is provided for in the rules were silent on the role and functions of the leader of government business. So we are now just transplanting them as they are in the Constitution. The role we are giving here are those which are provided for in the Constitution. Like those which are in the rules for the leader of opposition were also transplanted from the Constitution.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I want to thank the Chair. Let him come out straight on this new rule. Because what we have in our rules or in the Constitution is the Prime Minister being the leader of government business. Are we creating a new position? And if it is, or if not, I would wish seeing this new insertion talking specifically the Prime Minister as being the leader of government business. Otherwise, if we are creating something new, we are going to have a challenge between the Prime Minister and the new leader of government business. Could we understand what you exactly mean on this? Because the leader of government business by our Constitution is the Prime Minister.
Honorable Katuntu, isn't this really redundant?
No, it isn't. Actually, I wish you had read the amendment. Have you? It is saying, there shall be in Parliament a leader of government business. It is there because that's what the Constitution provides. Designated such by the President.
Yes,
That's
Constitution.
what the Constitution provides. Who shall be responsible for coordination and implementation of government policies across ministry, department, and other public institutions. I am scratching my head to see the controversy.
You know, Honorable Abudu, who shall be responsible for coordination, implementation of government policies across ministries, departments, and other public institutions. That is from executive, not legislature. Let your neighbor explain to you. That is from executive, not legislature. It is defined by the executive. We are legislating on what we do day to day in Parliament. Now, this is what executive has tasked or chosen, given to who? The leader of government business.
You see,
and then the leader of government business shall perform such functions as provided under the rules. But this is what the president has designated.
The one which has designated is under 1.
Even 2.
Huh? No. The what has designated is leader of government business. That actually it is not even the president. The Constitution designates the leader of government business to be the Prime Minister. then who shall be responsible for coordinating and implementing of government policies across the ministries within within Parliament?
Chair.
And that's the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister, yes.
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 Who is the
Chair.
head of government business? I don't know
Yes.
where. I don't know
Our
whether I
roles-
understand you.
Our roles are defined by executive.
Chair.
Her roles are defined by
No,
executive.
you see,
Chair.
You know, let's not go into, let's not clash.
Yes, Chair. Chair. Chair, from that amendment, it presupposes that the President can appoint another lead of government business apart from the Prime Minister. And that is very dangerous for us to put that in our rules. The law is very clear, the Constitution is very clear that the Prime Minister is the leader of government business in Parliament. And we don't need him to provide for it in our rules.
Under the Constitution, Constitution 108A, the Prime Minister shall be the leader of government business in the Parliament and be responsible for coordination, implementation of government policies across ministries, departments, and other public institutions, and perform such other functions as may be assigned to him or her by the President. By the President. As may be conferred on him or her by the Constitution of Uganda.
Chair.
Yes.
What Honorable Wanika is very fearful of is taken care of under the definition. In the definition, the leader of government business is defined as a Prime Minister. So we cannot have another office created. But the role of government business in Parliament is not stipulated in the rules as of now. So the committee thought it was prudent to get the role of the leader of government business to be stipulated in the rules and define who is the leader of government business as a Prime Minister.
Madam Chair, I think, let me,
Yes.
I'm asking the Chair, Madam Chair, through you to the Chair, there's no problem by making a transplant. We can expressly state it and include the word Prime Minister in the new insertion so that it sits in our rules comfortably. But the moment you don't put it there, in our rules we create offices. And
No, the rules exist to operationalize the laws.
yes.
But we should be restrained. We should restrain ourselves to legislature. Honorable Dur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madam Chair, my understanding of the rules of procedure of Parliament is that it is only applicable when Parliament is in motion. That when you are seated there to guide our rules how we conduct business within this building, anything in the rules that purports to prescribe things outside would not be in the spirit. I therefore, and I'd already noted that I would oppose that amendment because one, we will be dictating to the president, the executive on what his or her appointee should be doing, which is not our work. If we intend to extract some roles that are limited within parliamentary business, for example, leader of government business, who is the Prime Minister, shall be the one answering during Prime Minister's question. That is something else. We should be explicit, but to lift from the Constitution as it is, because the Prime Minister has responsibilities in the executive, but also here. Yeah.
Honorable Katuntu.
I still am not convinced. And let me tell you why I'm not convinced. does the Constitution provide for the function and roles of a leader of opposition? Have we transplanted those roles from the Constitution to our rules? Have you read it? You see, yes, just look at it. Just look at whether we have translated the roles given by the Constitution to the leader of opposition, and we have also provided for in our rules. What we are trying to do, and if you can listen, what we are trying to do is exactly to do the same. What you've already done for the office of leader of opposition, and we are doing it for the office of government business. And when you look at the new rule, it is not inserting anything outside what is provided for.
Yes.
But if you are not comfortable, we can leave it. I'm not convinced, but
not
I'll
we
proceed.
being comfortable, but less separation of powers. And as the Honorable Duru said, when the House is on motion, what is expected of? Yes?
Chair.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I stand to support Honorable Katuntu in that, marrying with what Honorable Jonathan has stated, the leader of government business is a member who sits in this parliament. And when you look into our rules of procedure and even the Constitution, all of us have been mentioned. Call it the leader of government, the chief whip, the members, and everybody else. So for me, I'm of the proposal that we stand over this, and then the chair, Honorable Katuntu, sits down and not only lives from the Constitution, but comes with a clear proposal of how we are going to govern the leader of government business when we are seated and when Parliament is on operations. Because it should come very
You
clearly.
want to govern the leader of government business?
Madam Chair, with our rules of procedure,
No, I am saying you need to govern the leader of government business.
Madam Chair, let me withdraw that word. Madam Chair, let me withdraw that word. But how the leader of government business is going to operate, for me, I feel should come out very clearly on our rules of procedure. Thank you.
Honourable members,
Madam Speaker, about that.
honourable members, can we stand over this?
Chair.
Actually, if the House is uncomfortable, we can leave it out. If you think we can leave it out, and then you have a leader of government business whose role are not provided for under our rules.
Honourable Abudu.
Can we go?
Honourable Abudu.
I concede. We
You
go.
concede? Okay. What are we cheering? No, I want to ask, what are we cheering?
Rule
I
15.
concede.
Okay.
I concede.
Thank you.
Rule 15.
Rule 15.
Madam Chair, before you go to
15.
before you go to 15, there is need to introduce also the leader of opposition. There will be a leader of opposition in parliament that we are doing. It's not, they
It
only
is
show
all-
roles. They don't show anything as far as there will be anything. They only start with roles. In our
Article
rules,
82A, leader of opposition.
what about including it in our rules? The way we've introduced whips, the way we've introduced leader of government business, there is need also to introduce the leader of opposition. We start by saying the roles will be this and that. We don't see. Look at the whips. We introduce whips that there will be whips.
Okay, look at Rule 14.
We start by showing the roles. We don't
I'm
introduce-
saying look at Rule 14. Role and function of leader of opposition. Rule 14.
You don't introduce. Let me just consider, but you don't.
No, you look at Rule 14. Read it.
Madam Chair, under Rule 14, we give the function of the leader of opposition. We say the principal role of the leader of opposition is to keep the government in check. I would have suggested the way we've introduced that there will be whips, we would also introduce that there will be a leader of opposition, and then we mention the rule.
Check the constitution, which is prim.
Thank you.
Honorable Katuntu. Next item. Next.
Rule 15.
Rule 15. Rule 15 is substituted for the following. There shall be in Parliament a government chief whip appointed by government from among members of Parliament representing the ruling party, a chief opposition whip appointed by the party in opposition to government having the greatest numerical strength among opposition parties in Parliament, party whips for any other party in opposition. The role and functions of the whip are to ensure that members attend, participate in proceedings and vote in Parliament, organize party business, keep members informed of parliamentary business, supply lists of members to serve on standing and sectoral committees, coordinate and implement agreed parliamentary business, act as intermediaries between leaders and other party members, arrange representations of party members on official parliamentary delegations, and act as tellers during divisions. Justification: to consolidate the functions of the whips under one sub-rule for clarity and ease of reference. Right Honorable Chair, colleagues, the function and the roles were spread. So we've just consolidated them in one rule and went ahead to, I think, assign some other functions which ordinarily should be the functions of the whips.
Thank you. Aisha?
I agree with the proposal.
I put a question that Rule 15 be amended.
Madam Chair, I wanted to use the opportunity to correct an anomaly under Proposal 2B, organized party business, to add the word party business in Parliament. The responsibility of organizing party business is with the Secretary General. So when you leave it to organize
Party business in Parliament.
We add the word in Parliament.
In Parliament. Chairman? Let's first sort out one thing at a go.
These rules govern according to Honorable Dur. He was a few minutes here saying these rules govern only internal workings in the Parliament.
No.
So they cannot go and apply outside Parliament.
No, for clarity.
Just come. But anyway, that notwithstanding, now that he has come to the position I concede.
Thank you.
He has only moved from the other position.
Yes. Yes.
I'm also proposing, in the last Parliament, there was an interest of having vice chief whips. Deputy. And even
in the last Parliament, you're there?
I was following, right Honorable Speaker. For the NRM side, I was following. And now, in this one, the opposition also had interest in having it.
We only have whips. Our rules only provide for whips. If the other one is administrative, you can plan according to what you want.
We could propose it at this
No,
moment.
we are not proposing. I put a question that Rule 15 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary. With amendment from Honorable Dur, those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Rule 16.
16. Rule 16.
Amendment of Rule 16.
Rule 16.
Rule 16 is substituted for the following. A member may, with the consent of the Speaker, move that a rule be suspended in its application to a particular motion before the House. A member moving the motion under Sub-Rule 1 shall give reasons why the rule should be suspended in its application to a particular matter before the House. Where the motion is carried, the rule shall be suspended in its application to the matter before the House. This rule shall not apply in respect to rules 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 1, 24, 88, 93, 98, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 118, 124, 125, 126, 127, 134, 143, and 195. Justification: to enhance the entrenchment of rules that cannot be suspended in conformity with the Constitution and with due regard to natural justice. Right Honorable Speaker, many of these rules we have added are a result of the Constitutional Court decision, where when we suspended the rules and the court held that the application of that rule, suspending the application of that rule will lead to unconstitutionality. So that's what we've just done, just to harmonize this with the court decisions, and also to make sure that this rule, including the rule suspending, to be entrenched, that it can't be suspended.
Honorable Jotha, Aisha.
I entirely agree with the proposal.
Thank you. I put a question that rules 16 be amended as proposed. Those in favor sign the contrary. The ayes have it.
Rule 19.
19. You'll recommend 19.
Rule 19, sitting of the House. Rule 19 is amended by inserting immediately after sub-rule 1 the following. Subject to these rules, the Speaker shall sit at such place. The House shall sit at, Rule 19 is amended by inserting immediately after sub-rule 1 the following. Rule 1A, subject to these rules, the House shall sit at such place as the Speaker shall determine, to make provision for Parliament session in any other place, including regional sittings.
Aisha.
No objection.
I put a question that rules 16 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say the contrary. The ayes have it. Rule 19. I put a question that Rule 19 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. 25.
Rule 25.
24.
25.
Not that my sister had an amendment.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Chair. This is about quorum in the House.
Yes.
Right Honorable Chair, often than not, to ascertain quorum in the House, we consider members present in the House and also members in virtual attendance. But also you'll note that most decisions here are made by voice voting through aye and nay. However, people in virtual attendance cannot be heard to pronounce their decision, whether they're saying aye or nay. So I am only, nay. I'm here to propose that for purposes of quorum, where a decision is made through voice voting, members in virtual attendance should not be considered to be part of the quorum because their voices cannot be heard. Right Honorable Speaker, in the committee, we entertained members from the technical team who spoke to us and were expressed about that there's no way, currently the way situation is, there's no way people in virtual attendance can pronounce themselves through aye and nay because voices can come in at different times. There's a problem in network. You cannot enter, except if a decision is going to be determined by either show of hand or roll call. So this proposal is that those people in virtual attendance can only be part of the quorum if the decision is made through other methods, roll call, house hand counting, and others, but not voice voting.
Honorable Aisha, that is administrative quorum is about the number, not the voting. The people who vote will be present and they will vote, but the quorum will ascertain the quorum both virtually and what?
Physically.
Right, Honorable Chair. Right, Honorable Chair. Let me make a final statement.
Let's go. So,
I contend that this matter is not just administrative. It's very, very important. That's why we say quorum shall be determined at voice taking, rather vote taking. And vote taking includes aye and nay, where people cannot be heard to pronounce their decision of a matter. They cannot be considered to be part of the quorum. It's very important, and it cannot be simply taken to be administrative.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Honorable Aisha, we are looking at you're looking at two issues. You're looking at quorum and voting. Is that correct?
Particularly here, yes. We have to look at the two together because
no.
Quorum.
You look at Rule 93. Rule 93 is a question to be decided by the majority. And here you're saying, except as otherwise prescribed by the Constitution or any law consistent with the Constitution, all questions proposed for decision of Parliament shall be determined by the majority of votes of members present and voting.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Then you go to 3, the proxy form shall be submitted to the clerk within 12 hours before the commencement of the sitting to which it relates.
Right, Honorable Chair. Quorum is determined at vote. And my assertion is that you cannot be present, you cannot be considered to be a part of a decision when you cannot vote. And we are told by the technical people that people in virtual attendance cannot vote where we say aye and nay. And therefore, people in virtual attendance cannot be part of the quorum. It is just simple like that.
Chair.
They cannot be part of the quorum because they can't be heard.
Chair.
Let us put records correct. I remember very well in the 10th Parliament, members were debating online.
Yes.
If you can debate online, you can as well vote online. That's the reason we have this.
When we're voting for the famous LGBTQ,
yes,
members voted online.
Yeah, so with the modern technology, we cannot restrict ourselves by putting such. So I pray that we sustain it as it is. Otherwise, we can vote online as we debate online.
Chair.
That can only be seen by the presiding officer.
Chair, that's another point of contention. That's another point of contention.
So
Chair.
what is your view?
It's okay, people, to attend in virtual attendance. Honorable, I wish Honorable Seungu can listen. The situations he's referring to, people were voting through roll call. And I'm saying, in cases where decision is made through voice voting, people in virtual attendance cannot be part of the quorum because they can't be heard.
Chair.
And let me tell you,
Information,
Chair.
Right Honorable.
Chair.
Information.
Chair.
You first hear from another person, yes?
Chair, the honorable member is talking about quorum. You don't determine quorum by saying nay or aye. These are numbers. There is a difference between quorum and voting.
That's what I said.
Yes. The way it is, quorum can be determined.
Honorable Connie.
You don't need to.
Come and sit. Honorable Connie.
Thank you, Right Honorable Chair. Right Honorable Chair, like Honorable Wanika has said, a quorum is different from voting. And there is no guarantee that everybody votes because there are those who abstain. And therefore, it's still valid that by voice, there are those who will speak softly and those who will speak loudly. But the highest will be the one that will take that day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable members, I want to refer you to 24.6. For avoidance of doubt, a member virtually present in the House shall form part of the quorum. About quorum, not voting. Yes, Jonathan.
Madam Chair, I propose that when we come to the rules on voting,
93.
you can give audience to
Yes.
Honorable Aisha to deal with that.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Honorable Aisha, when we come to rules on voting in 93, then we can incorporate your matter.
You see, they allowed us this, honourable members, and we must exhaust the matter extensively. In this House, there are ex-officials. When you ask a question here on the floor, if you want to go by what Honourable Aisha is saying, it means that whenever you are going to ask a voice, ex-officials must get out. Because you are going to say the ayes, what? So, but what I'm saying is that the rules are very clear. Where the members are not satisfied, 40 members remain standing.
Thank you.
Challenge.
25.
Rule 25.
Chair, before you go on 25, actually the rule that you read is the one that I'm seeking to amend, because I'm suggesting or proposing that to amend.
We shall amend when we reach to that rule. We have not yet reached there.
You are skipping 24. It is saying, for avoidance of doubt, a member virtually present in the House shall only form part of the quorum of the House where voting is by roll call and tally by show of hands or by electronic voting. Because that's only when he can form of the part of the quorum. Otherwise, he cannot be part of the quorum because he cannot be determined his decision. So that's the point, that's the very rule that I seek to amend. Honorable friends, let me remind you that severally here, we have a number that is small, which is complemented by people in virtual attendance. For example, it can be like 56, in virtual attendance like there are 175, so quorum is there as we start to debate. In the process, when you're deciding issues, they put question and say aye, aye. It's only people here saying aye. The majority in virtual attendance are not heard, and yet we determined them to be part of quorum in the beginning.
Yes.
So
Lenos.
Oh, thank you, Right Honorable. Like you mentioned, that you're the speaker is privileged to are witnessing what is happening virtually. So if these members say aye, the privilege is only the speaker. The speaker listens to their voice. Yes.
The voting is always by the members who are in the house.
In the house, yes.
The voice voting.
Yes.
But what we are saying, we
yeah.
have also never had a scenario where virtually the members are more than those in the house.
Yes.
Let's not really.
Madam Speaker, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I think the honourable member has missed a point when she loads it over to you, when he knows very well that your lieutenants are the whips, especially in the determination of quorum. And it has become extremely difficult, almost next to impossibility, for whips, whose role is supposed to ensure due attendance and also determine quorum for you on your behalf, virtually. It could easily be abused if it is not.
Just a minute before you proceed. Very soon, most of you are going to be away, and we'll have bills to pass. We'll have appropriation. We'll have what? And you are the first people to say, we're in the constituency. I will be online. Do you want Parliament to stop running because of quorum? You get it, eh? Because quorum, we are looking at a number. We need a number. But all of you are going to run away. The heat is going to be too much down there that everybody is going to be out. Yeah?
Thank you, Chair. Right Honorable Chair, I've listened to the Honorable Aisha Kavanda. There is a logic, or there was, when they were drafting, and these two were put separate. Quorum is quorum, and Rule 93 that concerns voting is also independent and explicit. The rule we are talking about talks about
quorum.
And rules could not have meant to disenfranchise. It is all about 93. Yes. 93 even provides for a member who is on leave, leave of absence, to even have a member vote for him or her. But this particular one
that's called proxy voting.
Quorum.
Moses, just let him speak then.
Honorable Chair, on the virtual voting, I think we have been having incidences where members who are not in the house, they vote by the show of hands, meaning that if somebody is on virtual voting or presence, then he can show by showing the hand that really I'm either accepting or I'm refusing. So it can be done in that way. Right, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Hello. I'm coming.
Honorable Speaker, I want to disagree with colleagues who are disconnecting quorum from voting. That's not what the rules are saying. Rule 24, quorum of Parliament, sub-rule 1. The quorum of Parliament shall be 1/3 of all members of Parliament entitled to vote. Sub-rule 2. The quorum prescribed under sub-rule 1 shall only be required at a time when Parliament is voting on any question. There is, even without it, by the way, being in the rules, it ought to be implied. Quorum is only when you are going to vote on a matter. That's when it becomes critical. Otherwise, discussing and so on, even in our committees, you can discuss even if you're whatever bare minimum, yeah? But it's critical when it comes to voting. So it is not true that there is quorum on one hand and then there is voting on the other hand. Otherwise, what is it quorum for? Sub-rule 2 here is making it explicitly clear. The quorum prescribed under sub-rule 1 shall only be required at a time when Parliament is voting on any question. So then, we must be able to guide the quorum that is with us virtually, because it is required for voting purposes. Honorable Speaker, assuming we are 100 of us in here, and there's 100 online, virtually. We have quorum, for starters. But when it comes to voting, you cannot say only the 100 in here are voting, because then it is not 1/3 who are voting. It is much less. So we've got to answer that question, and that's why it becomes complex. So do the ones online vote aye, nay? How do we hear it? But like Honorable Aisha is saying, we must be able to guide it within the rules, because what's clear is quorum is numbers that ought to be able to vote. That's very clear here.
Chair, what is your position? Just a minute.
Right Honorable Speaker, we heard all these arguments, and I wanted to listen more if there is anybody raising any argument which I have not heard so far. So I'm trying to, because it was really very contentious, let me try to continue listening.
Honorable
if there
Goli.
is any new argument.
Honorable Seno.
Thank you very much.
Doctor.
First to the chair of the committee. Do we define the word quorum in this document? If we define it, then it would give us guidance. Secondly, I would think that we need to separate this issue of quorum for voting and normal quorum, so that if it is possible, can we isolate all the related issues, articles related to voting, and we send them to 94? 93, so that we remove 24.2, 24.3, and send them to 93. If the definitions are different, so that we handle them differently.
Anthony. Anthony. I am coming.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When I listened to Honorable Aisha's submission, I was seeing the point she was making because of the voting issue, and I had sympathy with it. But Madam Chair, when you look at, when you go ahead and look at Rule 96, subsection 3, it's on the voting in the House. It says as following, one says that, subject to Rule 95, every member in the House at the time of voting shall cast a vote. The voting in the House shall be by A, voice voting, B, secret voting, C, electronic voting, D, division, E, roll call, which Aisha is talking about, and then finally by show of hands. But sub-rule 3 covers Aisha's concerns. It says, the Speaker may, where necessary, designate a specific voting method for a member virtually present in the House, where the member is unable to vote through any of the voting methods specified under sub-rule 2. So, Madam Chair, in my view, the concerns of my sister are covered because you have the leeway to decide how the virtually present members can vote in case they can't vote by voice.
Thank you. Doctor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I want to agree with my brother Anthony, the Honorable Anthony Seno. But to add that maybe if it doesn't cause harm, Madam, we would at this time expressly state that in the case of voice voting, which is aye or nay, those attending virtually will vote electronically, so that there is an intermarriage whereby we are catering in totality for all those in attendance. Because those in attendance include those in the House and virtually. So we would make that amendment, Honorable Chairperson, to provide for ayes and nays for those present here, but we quickly intermarry it with electronic voting. I so propose. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Yes.
And I would like to thank the colleagues.
That's why I'm talking of.
The debate we are having now is actually the debate we went through in the committee. All these arguments, we had all of them. We differed on the interpretation of 96.3. That's where our interpretation was. To the majority, we thought that 96.3 provided a cure for the mischief the Honorable Kabanda was fearing. And this is what it says. The Speaker may, where necessary, designate a specific voting method for a member virtually present, meaning that members virtually present may have a challenge in voting. In the House, where the member is unable to vote through any of the voting methods specified in sub-rule 2. And one of those specified methods is voice voting. And our interpretation is to cure that mischief, the Honorable Kaba, because what she's saying is actually we all agree that people who are not here may have a challenge to vote. But that's why we have Rule 96.3. And to us, we didn't see any reason for the amendment. We thought the Speaker just invokes this particular rule and says, yes, I've heard this, but this one, let me count. How many are they? There are 5. How do they vote? Then the ruling is made. That was our interpretation, and we didn't see the necessity for the amendment.
Thank you.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I have attentively listened to colleagues, and I want to allay their fears that this amendment puts into perspective the Rule 90, the one for voting. It just puts into perspective by saying, because the amendment reads, for avoidance of doubt. So we have noted that the Speaker can put an arrangement for members in virtual attendance to vote. We have noted that. So we're simply saying, for avoidance of doubt, a member virtually present in the House shall only form part of the quorum if the Speaker puts into place that arrangement. So it reads, for avoidance of doubt, a member virtually present...
Honorable Aisha, I don't want people to run away from their responsibility when there's a contentious issue here. Let people be there to vote so that they don't hide away. Let them attend, let them come and vote. If we are voting for Tojikwatako, let it be. Let them let people not hide somewhere and say, I'm going to vote virtually. No. Let people come and vote.
How do we, Speaker, how do we cure a minority here in the House pronouncing themselves of a matter through voice voting while the number complements the quorum is not in the House? To put into effect the rule that colleagues are quoting that takes care of people in virtual attendance, we need an amendment that says for avoidance of doubt, they constitute part of the quorum if they are going to vote in those specific terms. Otherwise, if they are not voting those specific terms, they cannot be part of the quorum.
You know, what you're trying to do is to infringe on the role of members to vote. That's what we are trying to do. Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you very much. Final.
Now let me give Jessica.
No, I am saying a final submission from me. Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, it is very difficult, and it will be very complicated for the presiding officer to mix the two types of voting. sound, and then numbers. How are you going to mix them? The only way those who are attending virtually can be part of those who are voting in-house is when one system of voting is going to be adopted. And
So
that
are
is
you
either-
in for the amendment or not?
No, I am just helping you to discern how members can bring these ideas of mixing two ways of determining numbers.
Okay.
So that we can know that in the amendment, the presiding officer will need to institute a measure of voting that is universal for those who are attending virtually and those ones who are attending. Otherwise, if at all we are going for ayes and nays, which Honorable Isa says ayes and nays, because the sounds are quite different there, then it will be difficult to include those ones attending virtually in that kind of voting.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Jessica.
Thank you so much. I have listened attentively. One thing I have noted throughout my stay in Parliament here is that the presiding officers tried their best to maintain quorum in the House, whether voting through roll call or in unison when we say aye or nay. So the issue of quorum is constant. To Right Honourable Speaker, I don't know what exactly Madam Honourable Isa will wish to cure. Because if the quorum, we have never gotten more members on Zoom than in the House. Therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, I see what he's proposing as redundant, because based on the practices through which we have been going through, quorum has been maintained constant. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Helen?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to say that the issue of quorum, according to my understanding, is numbers and then voting. When we are voting aye and nay, truth be told, not everybody here shouts it, correct, even if you are in the House. Correct. We only listen to the highest, and the Speaker says yes. But when something is contagious, usually the Speaker says we go for a roll call. And when they go for a roll call, even people on virtual are allowed to vote. Right Honourable Speaker, you interviewed me for minister through a Zoom. I did not appear before you officially. You remember? Because of COVID, I did it virtually. But you had, the committee had me, and we agreed. They answered the questions and everything. So the issue of voting, even that time of COVID, they would bring you a picture. When I'm saying I, the way I am there, it will come. So I think let us not confuse aye and nay, because even the aye and nay, I have never tried to count who has said or not. It becomes hard. But for roll call, that one is individual. So sometimes we'll try to say aye, and the other one saying nay, everybody
There's
shouting.
information here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Honourable Minister. I wanted to give you information that even where the ayes are high,
It is only the Speaker
our
who hears.
presiding officers can hear the nays and declare it here.
Next item. Next.
Rule 25.
25. It is only the Speaker who hears.
It's only the Speaker.
Jonathan Odur, Honorable. A root 1,000. Owechitiwa. 25. Rule 25.
I think procedure we have to take a decision on the Honorable Aisha.
No, I mean, let's maintain as it is.
Yeah, we have to vote on it. The question has to be put. She hadn't moved it.
We are not amending. It was not among the amendments that was there. It stands part of as it is.
Can we?
Eh?
We need to put
that
a
we
question.
vote that we vote on her amendment.
We have to. We have to.
Okay, I am putting a question that we amend Rule 24(6) as proposed by Aisha, Honorable Aisha Nalule Kawanda. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The nays have it.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. That was in accordance with Honourable Dur's advice.
Dr. Dur.
So
25.
Rule 25.
Right Honourable Chair, Rule 25 is amended by deleting sub-rule 3 and 4. Justification to place it under the right rule, which is Rule 5.4. We are just interchanging the places.
Honourable Aisha.
No objection, Chair.
I put a question that Rule 25 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Part 6 of the rules.
Part 6 of the rules. The rules are amended by substituting for the title of Part 6 the following: paper and other items. And amendment of Rule 31, laying. Rule 31 is amended by substituting for the head note the following: laying of papers and other items. By substituting for sub-rule 1 the following: a member may, with the leave of Speaker, lay a paper or an item on table in the House, to provide for laying of other items on table. 2, to require leave of the Speaker to lay paper or any other item on the table.
Honourable Aisha.
No objection, Chair.
I put a question on the title of Part 6 of the Rules of Procedure. Be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. I put a question that Rule 31 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. That is the same thing.
Rule 32.
Chair, you skipped Rule 30. Thank you. Rule 30 is amended by substituting for Rule 7 the following: the committee or minister in sub-rule 6 shall report back to Parliament within 14 working days from the date of referral of a petition for an urgent matter. And 2, by substituting for Rule 10 the following: the report of a committee on a petition shall be placed on the order paper within 14 days from the date of report.
That is dependent.
From the date the report is referred to the committee. Justification: to prescribe a specific time within which a committee or minister reports back to the House on matters raised in a petition. 2, to give a committee a shorter period of reporting back to the House on a petition. 3, to give priority to petitions in the House. This is to separate petitions, reports of petitions from other reports, because some petitions of an urgent nature and they cannot wait for 45 days to lapse.
Right Honourable Speaker, it was our view that first of all business that comes to this house is important. It is not necessary that petitions are more important than other business that comes to the attention for consideration by the House. Two, if it is that important, the presiding officer may direct that they are given a shorter time. There is no reason to prioritize and say one, because we don't determine petitions. Petitions just come outside this house. Some could even be frivolous, and we suspend very important or urgent meeting because a frivolous petition has come up. So we didn't see any need to have that. In any case, we thought that priority of business has already been given by the Constitution to be that the business is already provided for under the Constitution, and then the presiding officer and the Speaker has discretion, since the order of business and the order paper is a function
the order of business is on 25, Madam Aisha Hajati, and give the Speaker the discretion, because if I know that there's something very important, like a leader of opposition can give me a document in the morning and I know it is important, I will take it as a priority.
Most obliged, Right Honourable Chair. With the relator's respect to the due chair of the Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, I just noted that by the time people petition Parliament, they have things that they consider very important to them that need to be disposed of. And sometimes matters are responded to when they have actually expired. I just thought it was very important that petitions be given due accord, disposed of early now. And also, proposing that a particular period of time be given to petitions was not take away the Speaker's power, because even in the rules, they already prescribe time, what should be handled when and when, so I thought falls there.
Honorable Shah, we shall handle it administratively where we feel that this must be handled as fast as possible. If it means handling it directly with the minister responsible, even without going to the committee, it should be done.
I concede, Chair.
Thank you. Next.
Rule 32.
Thank you very much, the Honourable Kawanda. Rule 32. Rule 32 is amending by substituting for the heading note the following: mode of laying and presentation of papers. Justification to include presentation in the heading notes so as to align with the contents of the rule. It's about aligning the head of the rule.
Thank you, Honorable Shah.
No objection, Chair.
I put a question that Rule 32 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
New rule.
Insertion.
Insertion of new rule. Part 6 of the rule is amended by inserting immediately after Rule 32 the following: 32A, laying of reports of the Auditor General. The Speaker is or her absence, the clerk shall receive the report of the Auditor General submitted in accordance with Clause 4 of Article 143 of the Constitution. 5. The Speaker shall, as soon as practicable, cause the report to be laid before the House. Upon the report being laid, the Speaker shall refer the report to the relevant committee for examination. Justification. To separate the requirements for laying of the Auditor General's report from the functions of the Public Accounts Committee under Rule 174 and 181. To insert the reports of the Auditor General which are laid as papers under the right part. And 3. To align the submission of the Auditor General's report with the time frame in the Constitution.
Thank you. The first one, the Speaker, or in his or her absence, the clerk shall receive the report of the Auditor General submitted in accordance with the clause 4 of Article 163 of the House of the Constitution. Is this report received in the House or it is received in the office?
Right, Honorable Speaker, the report can never be received in the House. It can only be received in the office.
So it is redundant. Remove it. We know how to receive our reports there.
You see the role, we need to look at the... Can I have the role, the current role, please?
Let's deal with the procedure in the House.
Right, Honorable Speaker, when you look at...
a definition of...
You have been receiving these reports as a... I think it should be under the Article 163, and we wanted to empower any other office other than yourself.
Have we complained? Have we complained?
We can concede.
Why are you taking? Yeah. There is a speaker, there is a deputy speaker. Yes. There are also commissioners of HT.
We consider, right, Honorable Speaker, we can go to Rule 15.
Okay. So, no amendment there?
Yes, we've considered. We
Okay,
can leave that
next.
one. Part 7, I think.
Part 7.
The rules are amended by substituting for the title of Part 7 the following. Part 7, laying and presentation of parliamentary reports and reports of regional bodies organization, to align the head note with the content of the rules within the part.
Honorable Aisha.
No objection.
Question?
Presentation of parliamentary reports and reports of regional bodies, organizations. Why are you not putting regional bodies?
No, it's just aligning the head note, the justification
Parliamentary
is there.
delegations
The head note and the
abroad.
part itself.